Hey everyone, it's Alex. Today I wanted to share some everyday shortcuts that save me time. And so I would like to show you both on our current Windows devices, these keyboard shortcuts, and also how you can apply those same shortcuts when working on a Chromebook, because shortcuts will help you work faster and more efficiently. And the first one I wanted to show you is I'm in a Google slide right now, and sometimes you just want to hide the information on the screen without doing anything crazy. So if I just hit the B button on my keyboard, my screen goes black. If I hit the W button on my keyboard, the screen goes white. And then I just hit the same W button or B button to return back. The next shortcut I'd like to show you is I'm going to come over here and I'm actually going to grab the web address for this article. So I'll copy that, and I'll also grab the title. So let me use Control C this time to copy that one also. And you probably know what happens when I go to paste in this document. When I just hit Control V, what I get is I get text that is kind of in the font or style and background of the original text. But I didn't really want that. I wanted it to match. So I'm going to use my Control Z shortcut to undo that. And instead, this time I'm going to use Control Shift V. So what this does is it actually pastes that title, but it matches the font that's here. Okay? So the next shortcut I think I'll use is I'm going to select that article title, and I'll use Control K to bring up the insert a hyperlink. All right, and then I want to show you maybe my coolest shortcut that I use all the time, and this is accessing my copy clipboard. So remember, when I was back to that article, I actually copied the web address, then the title. Well, if I use Windows V on a Windows laptop, or on a Chromebook, I'm going to use Search V, I bring up what's actually called my copy clipboard. And notice here I have the last 5 things that I've copied, and right here is that web address. So I can just click on that and hit apply, and now basically I saved a little bit of time. I was able to copy a title and a web address and bring those over and paste those one after the other. So I might have just used some new keys that I want to show you, and to show you I'd actually like to use another shortcut. I'm going to use Tab Alt, and what that does is it allows me to toggle between my windows. This is the search button on a Chromebook. This is the Windows button. So this Windows V is what accessed the copy clipboard for a Windows device. Okay, so I'll use Alt-Tab again. That will take me back to my previous screen. The next shortcut I wanted to show you is Control-A. What Control-A does is actually selects all of the text on your screen. Okay, so if I went to this and I did Control-A, it selects everything. I use this sometimes to come up here and grab a web address. Sometimes if you single click, it's hard. If you do Control-A, it will grab everything. So you could do that to select everything. And the other thing I like to use, especially on a page with a lot of information or an article, is if I'm looking for a certain word. So maybe I'll use Control F, which brings up a search bar, and then I want to look for feedback. Is feedback in this article? Here it is. An advantage of AI is it can give immediate feedback. I also like to use split screen so that I can see 2 things at the same time. So on a Chromebook, it's going to be the Alt button and the right or left bracket key. And then maybe I could pull this article and do the same for Alt left bracket key. Now on a Windows device, that's going to be the Windows and your arrow keys. So let me show you what those look like. So on a Windows device, that's your window key and the left or right arrow key. And here on a Chromebook, it's the Alt button and either the right or left bracket keys. When you're in the split screen mode, it might be necessary to zoom out a little bit so that you can see everything, or just on a normal web page. So Control minus will allow you to zoom out on each page, or if you needed to, you can use Control plus to zoom in. And my favorite of those buttons is actually Control 0. Control 0 takes you back and resets it back to 100%. Another shortcut that might be handy is, let's say you have your tabs together and you accidentally close one that you didn't really mean to close. So for example, I want to shut down this page, The Ethics of Artificial Intelligence, and then I think, oh no, I needed that one. I could actually use Control-Shift-T, and what Control-Shift-T does, it brings back your most recently closed tabs. So this is both helpful for me when I close something I accidentally needed, or if I walk past a student who immediately tries to close out of something and I'm wondering, what were you just on? I can have them use Control-Shift-T to quickly bring back open that last page. The next one here to show is on a Chromebook or Windows machine how to take a screenshot. So let's say I wanted to grab this screen as a picture right here. Well, on a Chromebook, if I use Control and the window switcher button, what that does is it takes an entire screenshot. So here is that shortcut. It's Control, and this is your window switcher button. It looks like a square with a couple lines next to it. On a Windows device, you would just use the print screen button. What the print screen button does is takes that same screenshot and puts it on your copy clipboard so that you can go to a Google Doc or you can go to somewhere else and you could paste it as a picture. But you might have been thinking, why would I want the whole picture? Instead, why wouldn't I just want the graphic, this 1 through 4 box here? And that shortcut for a Chromebook is Control-Shift window switcher, which allows you to then drag across the part of your screen that allows you to take the picture or the screenshot. So when I release and hit capture, now I've actually got that copied to my clipboard. So again, a partial screenshot is Control-Shift window switcher on a Chromebook. A few others to mention. On a Windows machine, if you use F8, this will allow you to toggle between your display options. So if you wanted to mirror your display or extend your display. And on a Chromebook, you can actually do the same thing with the Control and the display button. And all this does is it toggles between screen mirroring, showing the same things on two screens, or extending a screen, allowing you to have two different windows. And while we all know that Windows machines have a caps lock key, a Chromebook does not. So for caps locks, you would use the search button and Alt. So if you click search Alt, this will toggle on caps locks on a Chromebook, and then you'd use search Alt again to turn off caps locks. And finally, I would never recommend walking away from your computer and having it still logged in. And while you don't necessarily need to close your lid or log all the way off, what you can do is use on a Windows machine, Windows L, and that will just put a screen lock on, and all you'd have to do is re-enter your password. You can do the same thing on a Chromebook with the Search L button. That will put a screen lock on your Chromebook, and again, it will allow you to just re-enter your password, not logging all the way back in. And you won't lose the things that you had open. Okay, so I hope all those keyboard shortcuts are helpful. I have this document that I'm going to link at the bottom of the video that will allow you to see all of the shortcuts I talked about and a comparison of how they are used in Windows, which most teachers are using right now, and how they're used on a Chromebook, which we anticipate most teachers will be using in the future. Okay, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out.